Breaking news, people. Now it looks as if we have what is called legitimately reasonable doubt. All my Jay-Z fans, Hov fans, you know what's going on right there. We have reasonable doubt now. Buzzbee'S entire roster of clients following suits is now going to be heavily damaged. They're going to take a hit with this one. If you've not heard yet, the 13-year-old anonymous, the Jane Doe accuser, who amended her lawsuit, which was previously only named Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, which added Jay-Z about 2 weeks ago. That's been the biggest news lately, Jay-Z. And then Jay-Z's statement came out and said this is all nonsense, and he attacked Buzzbee, and he made it clear he was not going to be bullied with his statement. Well, just last night, now it's a Saturday morning, this is December 14th, and just last night I was having a conversation with someone, and we talked about the Jay-Z thing, and we were talking about this. And by the time I finished that call, and then at some point when I was wrapping up for the evening, I see this news that Jay-Z's attorney is looking to dismiss a lawsuit accusing the rapper of R-ing a 13-year-old girl after the Jane Doe acknowledged inconsistencies in her allegations in a new NBC News report. So she did an interview with NBC News, and she spoke about the incident. Now I'm gonna go through the news on this really quick. In the lawsuit originally filed in October, a woman identified only as Jane Doe sued Sean Diddy Combs for allegedly assaulting her at a party following a 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. The complaint was amended on Sunday to include the allegation that Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, was also present and participated in the assault. Now, in a new interview with NBC News, the Alabama woman, who is now 38 years old, recounted what she called a catastrophic event 24 years ago, alleging that she was given a spiked drink and subsequently assaulted. However, she and her lawyers also recognized some inconsistencies in her recollection of that night in response to the outlet's questions. I have made some mistakes, she said. Ooh, did Buzzbee sanction this particular interview with NBC? I got to wonder about that. I have to wonder whether or not Buzzbee set this interview up. Who set this interview up? How did this interview get set up? How did they find this girl? I just got to ask questions about that. Now, because he wouldn't want her to. This is crazy. The inconsistencies include the woman claiming her father picked her up after the alleged assault, but he says he doesn't remember doing that. That's part of the whole thing. So if you didn't read that, you know that she told the story that when she left after she had been assaulted by Diddy, Jay-Z, and that third party that was in the room, the female was in the room watching, she ran out of the house and then she traced her way back down the road according to the way the limousine show came, and she made it to a gas station, called her dad, explained to her dad that she had lied and she went out for the night, whatever. Her dad picked her up and all was well for the last 25 years, whatever. Okay, so apparently the father is saying, I don't remember anything like that. So the dad is just totally, like, does that mean that the dad possibly, let's go down certain angles here of speculation. Does it mean the dad, they got a hold of the dad and got him paid off? Who reached the dad? Who was able to get to the dad and tell him to change his story? I don't know. It's a possibility. I'm just putting it out there. The Jane Doe also says she spoke to another celebrity at the after party where the sexual assault took place. But that celebrity, it's Good Charlotte's Benji Madden, says he was not in New York that night as the band was on tour in the Midwest during this time period. So she's like, I was had a whole conversation with Benji, from Good Charlotte, and we were talking about this and talking about that. Yeah, but he wasn't really there, was he? He was on tour in the Midwest somewhere. So the holes in this, that's not an inconsistency. That's an outright lie. That's not an inconsistency, as far as I'm concerned. Images from that evening in 2000 also show Carter and Combs at a different location than the woman described, but their location for the entire night is unclear. So basically just saying there's evidence. I don't know if it's video evidence. It's photos. It says images. So there's photo of them in 2000 at some other venue, possibly someone else's party, which would pretty much vindicate both of them entirely in this particular incident, if that it could be proven and there's testimony from multiple sources that yes, they were in fact at Club New York that night, or they were at XYZ's penthouse in Dumbo, Brooklyn, or they were at this particular venue. If that gets substantiated and gets confirmed, then that just blows this whole thing out. This whole thing. Now, I'm not going to say the entire case or that something didn't happen to this young lady. We're not going to go there yet. But there's a lot of holes here, and there's a lot of room for this to just be total nonsense. Carter wrote in a statement, so his response to the NBC News report, quote, "Today's investigative report proves this attorney, Tony Buzzbee, filed a false complaint against me in the pursuit of money and fame. This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, capital FROM, from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon," end quote. The rapper's attorney, Alex Spiro, added, quote, "It is stunning that a lawyer would not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but would make things worse by further peddling this false story in the press." Well, it's pretty much what he's been doing. That's the whole Diddy situation is a press case. "We are asking the court to dismiss this frivolous case today and will take up the matter of additional discipline for Mr. Buzzbee and all the lawyers that filed the complaint," end quote. That was Jay-Z's lawyer. In a filing on Monday, Spiro argued that the woman accusing Carter must reveal her identity or drop the lawsuit altogether, saying she has not provided substantial evidence to justify her anonymity, adding her vague assertions of potential harm fall far short of the stringent requirements, end quote. They're not providing enough evidence, essentially, is what they're saying, for this to go on. Where are you getting the evidence? Not only are we going to question that now and how the veracity of this woman's statements clearly can come into question based on the inconsistencies, quote unquote inconsistencies, or outright lies, or really poor recollection of facts. So they want this dropped. Carter also previously shared that he had anonymously sued Buzzbee, claiming that the lawyer was trying to blackmail him. Buzzbee shared in a statement with The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "Jane Doe's case was referred to our firm by another law firm who vetted it prior to sending it to us." Oh my God. Immediately, you know what that sounds like? Immediately, that sounds like, what had happened was, I didn't know. They gave it to me. The way they gave it to me is how I took it. I didn't really, they must have messed up. That's exactly what that sounds like. This guy is losing credibility as an attorney, just immediately. Quote unquote, "Jane Doe's case was referred to our firm by another firm who vetted it prior to sending it to us." That's basically passing the buck, right? It's basically saying, well, we got it and that's how okay, it's still not an excuse. "Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory, We will continue to vet her claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before, in any event. We always do our best to vet each claim made, just as we did in this case. This has been extremely distressing for her to the point she has experienced seizures and has had to seek medical treatment due to the stress." Yeah, I'm sure she's stressed. And again, I don't want to sit here and speculate or say or accuse this young lady of, nothing ever happened to her. Something might have happened to her. But look, let's keep it real, people. As far as the law goes, as far as going after Hove and Diddy and billionaires and making claims from 25 years ago or whatever, you're going to need a little bit more than just, oh yeah, I had a drink one night and something happened to me. You're going to need more than that. And Buzzbee, my God, I can't believe the statement that, well, see, we had got it. We thought they vetted it. Oh, you guys didn't check it? That's ridiculous. We're going to keep going to and to substantiate and to corroborate all these things based on the data to the extent that it's available. Well, what's available? What is available? I don't know. I need, from a legal situation, again, there's reasonable doubt here now, right? Because what evidence is available? If it's eyewitness testimony, the father who's saying outright that he denies or doesn't have any recollection of picking up his own daughter, that's something you would remember, by the way. Let's think about that. If my son, I have a 17-year-old son, if my 17-year-old son were to be out and stranded or was partying or doing something wrong where, somewhere he shouldn't have been or something along those lines, and he called me at like 3 a.m. to pick him up in Connecticut or some crazy thing, I would remember that probably when we're old man, when I'm an old man and I'm talking to my grandkids, I'd be like, yeah, night your father made me drive out 3 a.m. to Connecticut. Like, that's something you would just remember. And especially if it was your little girl, and there had to be signs of distress if what she alleges took place, that 2 grown men, one of them threw her against a wall and then proceeded to assault. They both individually assaulted her in ways that, you know what we're talking about. She would be distressed. Like, there would be some clear indication of something went wrong. So I don't know, man. This is not looking good. We can look at some of the video here. And let's take a look. This is the NBC video. Woman accusing Jay-Z speaks to NBC News.
Or run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because
Wait, hold on. She asked us not to reveal her identity. Yeah, she's got a lawsuit currently in motion against 2 megastar billionaires. And she's already Jane Doe. She's obviously, she didn't need to ask to keep her.
because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof juggle ball.
What? What? So she's autistic. Apparently, I'm also going to speculate that this is a Caucasian female. Did not know that, but I believe she is. From the hands, there was a shot of her hands, and the way she sounds and her hair. I think it's a Caucasian woman, and she has autism. So she's got autism. I don't know how that. The way she's describing that feeling of having that. I mean, I don't know the relevancy. I mean, that hasn't been brought up, right? That's not been in the case.
The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time.
Okay, right there. That's something that you can confirm. That can be confirmed easily. They're on tour, the date, where they were. It's easy to confirm that. So that rips her whole thing, obviously, right? So
At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter.
All right, we know. We know. I went through this on my channel. We talked about the actual lawsuit and some of the details. You guys know by now. You know the news. What we need to talk about the fact that this looks really bad for Buzzbee and all of the suits. He's got 120 suits out there. This doesn't look good for him. His credibility is going down the tubes, and this is definitely going to have an impact on all of the other suits and the other victims. It's also a negative effect for the real victims. And again, just to be clear, I don't want to suggest that this young lady is not a victim of some type. Something happened to her. Don't know if it was Diddy and Jay. Don't know. Maybe something happened to her. Maybe it didn't. What we do know is that some things are definitely out of line and do not make any sense. And personally, if I had to weigh in on it, I would say Jay's going to get this dismissed. I would say they'd be well within their rights to get it dismissed. I think this particular case, or at least that night, that one thing. So this is going to exonerate Diddy, not exonerate, but this case against Diddy and Jay should be dropped. So I guess in Diddy's favor, you're like, this is one less thing he has to worry about in addition to all the others. And I think this favors Diddy to us. It's like a small win for Diddy because it directly says something about the credibility of Tony Buzzbee. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted on this. I wanted to talk about it because I just discussed last night this case. We just discussed to what degree could our boy Jay be involved in this and like how horrendous the actual allegations were. And we talked about it. And no more than, it was probably 45 minutes to an hour later, I find out there's inconsistencies in the young lady's story. All right, we'll see how this plays out, people. Time to Talk podcast. If you've not subscribed, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit that like button. I truly appreciate when you guys put your input in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. Should the case be dropped outright? Is she lying? Is it just a bad memory thing? What do you think about the dad just totally like, no, I didn't drive 5 hours to pick you up from a random gas station. That didn't happen. Like, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe again. The people who've already subscribed, I truly appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next Time to Talk podcast. Peace.